Thank you so much for accepting my call.
My pleasure.
I can hear a bit of feedback in it, so it's a bit difficult to talk. Okay, so
There
the
isn't feedback on this side. You could try putting in headphones.
Yeah, my headphones are in.
Oh.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll talk and then I can hear you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So the illusion here really seen through. At a point where I was just trying to do something to become free of the mind.
Yeah.
And I realised that so many other times when I was just doing something like hanging up the washing, that there was just this place of no mind. So it was kind of seen that actually there was no point in doing anything because it didn't matter what I was doing, that something would just happen.
Yeah.
So it was just seen that there was no person doing anything at all.
Yeah.
But now sorry, I put my earphone back in. But now there's still a full range of human emotion, and the mind is still completely there.
Yeah.
And like there are nerves in the body and nervousness and shaky voice and everything. But there's no identification with it, and I know it's not me doing it, but the mind is still there. And I guess my question is, the mind is still here and there's still extremes of emotions, but yet there's no identity, and how can that be, kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by mind, and I don't know.
Like the talking in the head.
The talking in the head. Yeah, that still happens, but there's just the absence of looking for something better than what's happening. But sometimes in waking up, there can be lots of crazy different things happening in the body, and different extreme energies happening and voices happening.
But there seems to be a complete surrender. Like there's no need to try to do anything to get anywhere better, because it's completely seen that whatever's arising can't be any other way.
Yeah.
But yet I still very much feel human.
Yeah.
Is that, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing that can be done anyway, so I guess I just wanted to hear your feedback. And
there's still something that can see that, obviously. Like there's still something that's seen that, which is still an identification in a way. Like even the seeing that there's nobody there is still something that sees that. It's like more what's being talked about is the disappearance into it all.
Okay.
The disappearance into whatever's happening. But it's a tricky thing when awakening happens, because lots of different experiences happen and you can't understand a thing. So anything that I tell you is just an understanding that comes and goes. So any belief system on what's happening now, or even if I say it's a disappearance into things, that is just an idea at the end of the day, which comes and goes and doesn't really mean anything. But this is really full on stuff, because then it leaves you no position.
Yeah.
Even if you begin to see that also the idea that nobody's there is an idea as well, you're left absolutely positionless. And then there can be a movement that happens between being the human to the human being an experience, and then who you are to say, but there's not a you, is everything. So this movement can happen, but even that, can you see how I've set you up in another trap in a way by even saying that? But it's what came out, because then there's an expectation of something else to happen. It's so crazy. You're left with nothing, no reference point. And then you might notice the mind's trying to hang on to a reference point, or the thoughts are trying to hold on to a reference point, but they can't get anywhere. where can they get to? There can only ever be what's happening.
Yeah. But even say, like, I've got to the point where it's just now, I don't do anything, and I know that I'm not doing anything. Like, there may be the thought that, oh, I picked up the glass and had a drink, but actually I know it wasn't me, but yet the thought says that it was me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The thoughts will always describe like a you doing things, but that person is an experience. That's the way it goes. Like Lisa or I went to the shops, but but that is an experience, that I. It's not an experiencer.
Say that again.
That's an experience that I did something, not the experiencer.
Okay, but how can it be? I mean, maybe I'm thinking that I've seen through the big illusion, when maybe it was just a preliminary thing. But it feels like I've seen the whole illusion, and yet I'm still playing as the person.
Yeah.
You know? So how is that possible?
I would say that there was an experience that happened, seeing through it all, and that's what you'd call an awakening. And then there's still the energy playing out as if the person's having the experience.
Yeah.
But that's what seems to happen, is there seems to be these crumblings.
Okay.
Because you can't know that you've seen through it. That you can only know that when the person comes back.
Yes, that makes so much sense.
Because who would see it? It would simply be as it is, and that would be gone, like everything else.
But yet, there's nothing the personal identity can do to keep it from coming back. It's it's written.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, if that's what's happening, yeah.
So it's just a complete surrender to, if my story is written that I will fully awaken, then it will.
Yeah.
So I'll just continue to watch your beautiful videos.
In a way, there never was a story. It just feels like there's been a story and that there is a story. In another way, that's just a daytime dream. Like a daytime, I mean, there's no real daytime, but just a dream while the body's awake.
Okay.
I like all the sounds of the insects in the background.
Yeah, I'm in Portugal.
Nice.
Okay, thank you. I mean, all the questions that would arise would be, what can I do? I know from listening to your videos that there's nothing to do. So I'm just thankful that you're here to
nice.
give these beautiful talks. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Melissa.
Come and see you one day as well.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Sweet.